Nigeria's illicit drugs problem is worsening at an alarming rate, a situation that was underscored last year in the country being named West Africa's top destination for cocaine use and transshipment by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. Millions of Nigerians' lives are lost or irreparably destroyed every year through failure of the relevant agencies to keep track of demand and supply routes for these narcotics, coupled with lapses in enforcement and an abysmally low rate of prosecution of offenders. Against this backdrop, members of Nigeria's House of Representatives have called on President Bola Tinubu to consider declaring a state of emergency on drug abuse. To highlight this further, we are now being joined from Arise Abuja studios by Oghene, a People's Democratic Party lawmaker representing Amuwo-Odofe Federal Constituency in Lagos State. He will also be giving us his 2 penny on fuel subsidy removal, as well as next week's elections into principal offices of the National Assembly. Good morning, Honorable Ego. Good to have you join us today on the Morning Show.
Thank you. I'm honored to join you once more in the Morning Show.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you indeed, and congratulations on your victory returning to the House of Representatives. Well, from our introduction, let us start.
Hello. I did return to the House of Rep. I've been there for 8 years, and I'm not returning this time. But don't forget that we are still in the office until on the 12th of this month, when the old team will give away, and then a new team will come.
Oh,
so I'll be the old member representing us. But from on the 13th, when they will swear in the new members, another person will be representing us in Amuwo-Odofe.
Apologies about that. You've done well. Thank you. But let's talk
Thank you, my brother.
Let's talk about what is of interest to members of the House of Representatives, which is for the president to not just consider the problem of drug abuse in Nigeria, but to also declare a state of emergency on it, given the enormity of what we are dealing with. What's your assessment of why the House of Reps came to this point and asking the president, the new president, to declare a state of emergency on drug abuse in Nigeria? Do you share that sentiment? And what's the insight that you can share with us on how bad the situation is?
Absolutely. I think the House has done very well, and that is the way to go. I was in the House when the motion was moved by my colleague, Mr. Agbo, who is the chairman of narcotics in the House. And before moving it, members of the House thought on it very deeply. And the problem we have now is that majority of our youth are being destroyed by these drugs. These drugs are not just the old cocaine and heroin that we hear of. You know, there are synthetic drugs being manufactured everywhere. We don't know which country they are coming from, but some of the developing countries are manufacturing this and shipping them to Nigeria. And the people who take this are not just ordinary youths who are finished secondary school or university. Secondary school children are taking, even primary school children are joining. And if care is not taken, if we don't tackle it in time, in a couple of years to come, we will have youths who don't know their left from their right. We have miscreants. Even people who have graduated before, they will lose their senses. Violence will decrease. And then you will not be able to have enough youths who will help the country to move forward. So the House of Rep looked at this, we debated it, and we passed that motion to Mr. President. And from the feelers we have, it has reached an endemic proportion. Therefore, we fully support that the president should declare a state of emergency on drug abuse. Not only that, they should and provide enough resources for NDLA. They need to expand it. Their membership is not enough. They need to have more members everywhere. Go to all nooks and crannies of the country. Even in rural areas, it is happening. They need to go to all chemist shops, pharmacies, those who sell the new drugs. And the rate at which new drugs are being manufactured, they are playing the same role as cocaine and all that. The rate is so fast that I'm sure they will need to also employ pharmacists, people who need to keep in touch with modern science with regards to the drug issue. I can assure you that it's very bad. And we, in the House of Rep, we took that decision, was it Thursday or Wednesday, we took that decision. And we are sure that the president will listen to us.
Okay, Honorable.
That is on the issue of drug,
yeah, okay. It's good to have you on the show. I guess Labour did take some parts of Lagos, and I guess your constituency is one of them.
It's one of them,
ask, why did it take so long for the House of Rep, in fact, the National Assembly, to wake up to the fact that we have a drugs problem? You will recall that there's been several reports that's being broadcast on local television and even on BBC. A Nigerian even won an award for reports on tramadol. Why did it take so long? We know that NDLEA has been working aggressively on the issue of drug abuse, but why is our own representatives not waking up to this and acting quickly?
No, you know, we have 360 members in the House. Some people, they may not really see this problem of drug on the ground, but it's there, it's inherent. We agree with you that there have been a lot of report on it, you know, but to mobilize the entire House, to now come up and say, yes, we agree with one voice, they should declare a state of emergency on drug abuse and uses of drug, etc., you know. I think the House did very well. You may say it has come late, but the important thing is that it has come. Now that it has got to the House of Rep, and the House of Rep have pushed it to the executive arm of government, then you now know that it's now in the corridor of government. Government have now listened, and by God's grace, you will see that government will act on this. So let's forget the fact that some actions would have been taken earlier, but certainly this action we've taken is still good at this time.
All right, Honorable Wego, let me ask you two questions in one. First is, when you say that the House is asking the President to declare a state of emergency on drug problem, what specifically does this mean? What will he have to do? That's the first part, declaring a state of emergency. The second part is, what do you make of the parallel that the GCU of the NNPC Limited, Mele Kyari, in an interview with Arise, you know, the parallel that he drew between fuel subsidy and the danger of it, and of course the fact that cocaine and other drugs, substances, are so cheap in Nigeria that's why the effect is so bad. A lot of people are like, why that sort of comparison? But then does it also mean that, yeah, because our fuel is cheap, and that's why we're going into subsidy, and at the same time subsidizing other West African countries? Is that the same thing that applies to cocaine and other substances? Because they are cheap in Nigeria, therefore people will have access to them. And then the endemic nature of it that you made reference to is harming us. What do you make of that?
Yeah. Well, talking about drugs first, the analogy of the MD of NNPC appears apt, but I don't really know how much it is sold. So I would not be able to say that because the price is cheap, that's why people are taking it. But don't forget, there are some other cheaper drugs, like tramadol. There are some other synthetic drugs that are all over there. Let me tell you, even illiterates, when you look at the labor, you know, like all these people who, both in Abuja, Lagos, all over the country, you can call to come and dig for you, to come and carry to do some work. Even they take drugs to give themselves energy. They don't know how bad the effect will be. So what I'm saying is that I don't know what the prices are, but we know that there are a lot of cheap synthetic drugs that are manufactured all over the place, you know. And then talking about declaring a state of emergency. What the House is asking for is for government to bring it on front border. Mr. President, to bring it on front border. Provide resources for NDLA. And also try to rehabilitate people who are in that problem. Maybe provide more hospitals where those who have problem of drug abuse can be taken to, provide more education at school level, in churches, in mosques, and at other levels. So we are asking that government should put more resources into it. In other words, government should be seen actively pursue the thing. It's not an issue of just let's pursue, let's punish those who are selling drugs. No. They also need to even educate those who sell drugs to say, look, this thing you are doing can damage the life of even your children, even your grandchildren. You may be making money, leave that business, do another business. They also need to educate those who are selling it so that they can move on to another thing. Let them see the moral aspect of it. If they are Christians, let them know that it's bad. If they are Muslims, let them know that it's bad, that both religions does not tolerate it. And there's no need you destroy other people's children, because whatever you do to others may also happen to you. So what we are saying is, let government, the executive arm of government, which the president represents, take firm action. Let it be front burner, so that people in the street, journalists, everybody can see, hey, government is doing something about this drug abuse. Because those who take the drugs are our people. They are our relation, our children, the whole country, they are Nigerians. So we sympathize with them. Those who also engage in selling it, they are also Nigerians. We sympathize with them. They probably think that's the only way they can make money. But we need to appeal to them to say, hey, there could be other ways to make money. Leave that business. Move on in your life. God will provide for you. This business, if you are caught, you could go to jail for life. If you are caught in some Asian countries, you could be sentenced to hanging. You could lose your life. So why do you want to lose your life? Because you are looking for money. Why do you want to go to jail for life? So also, it is to encourage people to leave the business and to get schools, to get parents. Because a lot of parents out there, they don't know what their children are taking. They only see that the children's behavior is getting very awful, it's getting very bad. They are becoming violent. And if parents don't talk to their children, so children can even kill their parents. They can kill relatives and bring disaster to the family. So this drug issue is a very terrible thing. So the analysis of the NNPC MD, maybe some sense to him, but I think it doesn't really come in on the issue of subsidy removal. Subsidy removal is a decision that we must praise the president, Tinubu, for taking. He's been bold. Jonathan was to take it in 2012. He shook it out. And because of that, see where we are now. You find out that the total money voted every year for capital projects, to tar roads, to build hospitals, to build schools, to pay professors, to do anything in the country, to pay soldiers, police, everything. You find out that the money budgeted for capital projects is far less than the amount of subsidy. In other words, what is going on subsidy is more than the money we are using to develop the country. If we continue like this, and this oil will run dry one day, then Nigeria will remain a poor country forever. We want to avoid that. And we sympathize with those who are not able to afford the due price. I'm one of them. 3 days ago, when my fuel got finished, 2 days ago, I went to the petrol station. Usually I fill with about 15,000. And, happily I just told my driver, fill the tank. When they filled the tank, they gave me the bill. It was 41,000 naira. I had only 40,000 naira in my account. I was shocked. I said, 41,000 to fill a tank? Then, how can
are you saying you can't afford the new price regime by the NNPC? Is that what you are saying?
I can.
As a two-time lawmaker, is that what you are telling Nigerians? You're saying that you can't afford it.
Yes, quite honestly, the price is high, and sympathize with Nigerians. If me, I can be crying, then you can imagine other Nigerians. But what I'm trying to say is that it is a necessity. Because if we don't remove this fuel subsidy, then our roads will continue to remain bad forever.
Okay.
And then when you manage to buy a car, your car will not last.
Okay.
Because there's not enough money to do things. Housing for the poor, you cannot do it. So a decision must be taken. And the worst thing is, we are subsidizing, using our money to subsidize all other countries around us.
Honorable, okay.
You know, so the president it's only a bold president that can take this decision. And I praise Mr. President for taking the decision.
All right, that's good. Before we move on to the issue of leadership in the National Assembly, which will definitely be coming up over the next few days, and just as you're wrapping up your tenure in the House, they will definitely be pushing for new leaders. But before I let us go into that, let me just very quickly ask you this. A lot of pundits, a lot of analysts, and people who are practitioners who are helping with CSOs in the area of drugs and helping people to get them rehabilitated, they said the key issue is three-pronged: poverty, unemployment, illiteracy. These are three areas that is fueling abuse of drugs in Nigeria, according to them. Now, we have a National Assembly that continue to support the former president, and we don't know what the new leadership will look like. Aren't you worried that the level of poverty in Nigeria is so bad that people are resorting to drug abuse? And because they are unemployed, they stay at home and do nothing other than take drugs, because they have to find a way to take care of, to just not worry about their sorrow. If you are worried, why has the National Assembly not declared this emergency a long time ago?
Yeah, you see, what you say, you are correct. But drug abuse is not necessarily a thing of poverty. For instance, go to America, there's drug abuse. Rich people take drugs. You know, so if you are poor, you may not have money to buy the drug, just like MD of NLPC said. So it may not necessarily be poverty. But the decision of removing subsidy will help to remove poverty. Because 6.5 trillion is a huge amount of money. It's more than the money that all the states in the federation are budgeting. If we have that extra money, government can use that to fight poverty. You can give more scholarships. You can provide more palliative. In fact, when the money is removed, the next thing we need to ask government is, what are you going to do with the money? 6.5 trillion. You need to buy vehicles that should carry people to work at cheap price. Lagos State has BRT, but Abuja doesn't have anything. A lot of the states don't have it. So if government removes it, we will be asking government, you must increase double salaries, because the money you are now getting is in excess. State governments are going to earn more money, local government are going to earn more money. So let nobody fool us that they cannot increase salary. Salaries must double, because so much money is coming in. All this money was going into a very few pockets, probably less than 100 people and 100 companies. Have been putting all these trillions, we're not talking about billions, into their private pocket. So when this money comes out, this money will go into the economy. And this money is going to help to remove poverty to some extent. It will provide a lot of things, you know. So removal of the subsidy is going to help to reduce hunger, you know, and it's going to create more employment. Government can now employ more people, you know, because there's more money. That is that. Okay. So that we are now coming out with this issue, like I said, people may say, hey, why are we coming out with this drug abuse issue too late? It may look late, but it's better than never. Now that we are brought into the fore, the whole country now knows that the drug abuse is very bad, because there are a lot of people who are working there, responsible people, sitting down in their house, doing good business, who do not even know how bad it is. Okay. But that National Assembly have cried out, and I asked Mr. President to take that action. They will now know that the issue is really very bad.
All right, thank you, Honorable Ego. But let's talk a bit about the fact that things will become interesting in the House from next week, even though you'll be taking your exit. The valedictory plenary will hold. And of course, the Speaker of the House is now the Chief of Staff to the President. The politics of electing the principal officers of the House and of the entire National Assembly will be one of the key interesting things that will envelop the nation. What are your thoughts about the fact that, yes, APC has the majority in both houses, and they have put forward, for example, in the House of Reps, Honorable Taju Abbas and Ben Kalu, Speaker and Deputy Speaker for the 10th Assembly. But there is massive opposition. The North is saying that because South has produced the President and will produce, and has of course produced the CJN, that the North automatically should retain the leadership of both houses, they are insisting. What are your thoughts on the type of politics that will shape the election of the principal officers of not just the House of Representatives, but also of the Senate?
Yeah, the history of the House is very clear on this. There have been times when the president have come from the North and the Senate president came from the North, just in the recent past. So for some people to say, oh, president came from the South, therefore Senate president must come from the North, it doesn't hold water. The current Senate president comes from the North, just like Buhari. But the important thing is to make sure that the 6 geopolitical zones are well represented. Now, the leadership of the House is hotly contested, to some extent that in some years, the people will say no, even to their party, and then vote somebody else. And there's a lot at stake. What is at stake is to see how you can develop your area. Because if you are Speaker of the House, of course, you can call the Minister for Works, you can call any minister, and they will come to you because they know the House and the people to consider their budget and make laws on their ministry. They will come to you, and if you have need roads or things in your area, of course, they will help you. Governors will come to you. So the speakership, the deputy speakership, are very powerful positions. Let's not make mistake about it. And that's why you see the contest is very fierce. We can say we have 3 major people. Tajuddin Abbas, who is supported by his party. We have Wase, who was the former deputy speaker. And then, of course, the chairman of appropriation in the House, Betera. These are very good people, and they have strong followership. They are nice people whom ordinarily members would like to vote for. But that for the first time, the majority party have come out openly to say this is the person we want. It makes it very difficult for other good candidates. And that is where Ben Kalu and the speaker, the person connected for the speaker, that is Tajuddin Abbas, have an edge because their party have given a directive. And in the House, there have been occasions where voters have gone against the directive of the party that is leading in the House. And when it happens, members of the National Assembly have suffered it. Sometimes constituency projects may be funded only by half, will not be well funded. Sometimes constituency projects, some of it, even the advertisement will not come at a time. And then the things people can take over to their constituency, may not be available. Because don't forget that we are lawmakers. And it takes the executive arm of government to work with the lawmaking side. What I would have, if I were in Mr. President's shoes, I would just have zoned the position to certain areas. Oh yeah, Susan position here, then let people contest. But when in their wisdom, they've decided to pinpoint some people that these are the people we want, it's going to be very difficult to defeat those people. Okay. Because everybody will want to work along with the government's candidate. But that does not necessarily mean that will be a Suji. Gbajabiamila was favored by the Buhari administration to be the speaker. But I can tell you, Gbajabiamila was never a Suji. There were cases where we moved motions, I'm one of them, against Mr. President, against the ruling party because I'm PDP, and Baja will allow it on floor of the House. You know, and when we move motion, we'll pass it. We have moved motion against government agencies. We have summoned ministers. You know, we've done a lot of, for instance, this motion where we are directing Mr. President, go and declare state of emergency. You know, Baja is the Speaker of the House, yet is sending a strong message to the President. Now he's been appointed Chief of Staff. So what I'm saying is that, you know, the House is independent. They have a right to vote for who they want to vote for. But that the party have picked some people, it makes it very difficult for those who want to vote for that candidate.
Honorable Go, some analysts have said the reason the Right Honorable Speaker of the House was playing his politics is now obvious because he is the Chief of Staff. That's what the analysts are saying, that the reason he played that politics was because of what he's now getting as a result of playing his politics that way. But let's move away from that. Let's talk about the fact that the Senate...
But I don't think so. I'm not sure. He was not aware that he would get that position before.
Well, there's an alliance. There's an alliance.
You saw right from the newspaper say... Okay.
These are the analysts. It's not my words. It's what they are saying. They are alluding to the fact that he played his politics in the best way. They're not correct. Okay, that's fine. If you say they're not correct, I want to believe you. Now, let's move on to the issue of rubber stamping whatever the president wants. If this president wants specific individual from Senator Akpabio to Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, and this is what he wants, should he get it, considering the fact that we've seen a situation where the Senate seemed to have approved almost everything President Buhari wanted, and it has not been in the interest of Nigeria? Look at the issue of ways and means. Look at the amount of trillions that we have spent on so many things, including loans that we're taking that a lot of people are questioning. Should it be the case, if you were going to be in the House for the 10th Assembly, who would you support?
Well, if I was going to be in the House of Assembly, on issues, I will be independent. I will work for what is good for the country, just as I did in the 8 years that I was in the House. You know? And I can tell you that there's a lot of lobbying, a lot of campaign going all out now. Those of us who are not coming back, we are not part of that campaign 100%. So it will be difficult for me to say, oh, if I were in the House, this is who I will vote for. But all I'm just saying is that the party, having pitched with somebody, have narrowed down their choices. You know, when Dogora in the 8th Assembly became the Speaker against Baja, you know, the President did not come out openly to say, hey, we sold this position to Baja. It was just rumor that, oh, the President will favor Baja for the speakership of the House. It did not come out openly. But those of us in PDP, a lot of them said no, and other people, even the APC people, said no, we will not vote for him. This is who they voted for Dogora. But of course, there were consequences. But what I'm saying is that this time the President have come out very clear several weeks before the election that this is what we want. So, you know, this politics, the President has so many governors.
Okay.
More than the opposition. They will mobilize their governors, they will mobilize all their leaders to talk to their people, their rep members, their senators, to follow the party line.
So
that is where, it's unfortunate. Otherwise, like I said, we have two other very good candidates, but
so you don't have a candidate. And so to wrap it up anyway, to wrap this up, there are two things that a lot of people have been asking questions about. How much money is being making the rounds? Because some members of House of Rep and the senators have said a lot of money is spent. It is how rich you are. How much money has been making the rounds? If you can answer that very quickly, and then the final question will be on the issue of how much money do members of our House of Rep and Senate earn? You're not going to be there for the next, for the 10th Assembly. So you don't owe them anything. You can disclose. Please let Nigerians know, because there is the concern that the amount of money that members are earning. When you said you could not afford 41,000, that you only had 40,000 in your account, I'm sure a lot of Nigerians are laughing like, oh my God, Honorable Ego is just having a joke with us.
Well, talking about the money making round for the speakership right now, you know, because I'm not coming back, most of those meetings have not been invited. So I don't know. I hear rumors that money making round, but I don't know whether it is true. I can only call it rumors. But I will be surprised. Somebody who wants to lead the house, why will he be spending money on people? You know, especially when some of them have been good, like Betra have been very good to people, Baja have been very good to people, Tajudi have also been very good, and then the party is not backing Tajudi. So why would they want to spend money to bribe members? I don't know, but I think a lot of these things are mere conjecture. They are mere analysts or mere people just suspecting that money is going around. I can assure you that the way they are saying money is going around, I don't think
Honorable,
it's so.
These are members. These are members. Even a senator, a ranking senator, Ali Ndume, said it, that it's only people who are rich that are able to fight it. So this is not conjectures. This is not analysts. These are members of the National Assembly saying it. Yes.
When you do best say so, yes. When you do best say so, it will be correct. Because in Transcorp Hilton, which of course is the most expensive hotel in Nigeria, all the major candidates have a presidential suite there. You know, where members come in, they entertain them. All this costs money. But it may not necessarily be that this money is being given to members. But going around to lobby, to go around, governors go around everybody to say, hey, I want you to vote for my candidate. You know, all this costs money. I'm sure that's what Senator Dube is referring to. I'm not sure he's referring to money being shared to members. You know, if they are sharing money to members, the person representing me, who took over from me, is a young man, very dynamic and strong, and is my friend, I will go to him to say, I'm broke, please give me small part of the money they are giving around to you. But he has not told me that anybody has given him money. You know, they're talking about how much are we earning. I think we must be honest. We earn. It used to be 600,000, but we earn about 800,000 every month. We cannot deceive Nigerians anymore. We must lay bare to them. That is what we earn. That is what our salaries are. And everywhere, you know, if you go to the ministry that is in charge, they will let you know what our salaries are. Senators earn more than us, but, you know, it's not the kind of figures that people bandy up in the press. They say, oh, they are earning this, earning that. No. Certainly not.
Okay, so that will be the salaries outside of the allowances.
If you see our tax papers, if you see our tax papers, you will see it. If you see our slip, you know, if I know that we will do this question, I would have come with my salary slip. You will see the salary that I earn. That is what others earn too.
What do they call it? Constituency projects?
Constituency projects and allowances. But we want to thank you.
Because that's a mistake.
That's okay.
But let me quickly say,
in few seconds, please.
It's not given to you as cash.
Okay.
You only nominate a project. And then the executive arm of government will advertise the job and award it to a contractor of their choice. You know, so it's not given to us.
All right.
Nobody, no senator has a back and says consider project in cash.
All right, Honorable Oghene Ima Ego, we want to thank you so much for joining us this morning on the morning show. Thank you indeed, and we hope, of course, that your constituents in Lagos will be proud of what you have done in 8 years.